how to deal with a bully in the workplace, and can you even deal with a bully? Like, can you make it really go away? A question I've been asked quite a lot, which is why I wanted to do a video about it, because I'm really half and half, to be honest with you. Dealing with a bully, you have to really prove that they've broken policy, they've fallen into gross misconduct, and it's borderline close to legal action. Dealing with a bully in the workplace, you have to tread very carefully. A company working alongside human resources will look at the situation, and their first thing that they're going to analyze is, what's the quickest way to eliminate and mitigate this problem? Is it the cause, the bully? The bully might, and typically is, a manager. Because as the saying goes, most people quit managers, not the jobs, because most people go to a job interview and then they accept it because they're like, I think I'm going to enjoy this job. Now, workplace bullying is very real, but why does it continue? 9 times out of 10, the manager is never dealt with, because it's always been far easier for the company to eliminate the worker, the employee, which is a real shame, and it's wrong. So if you are currently going through bullying right now and it's affecting your mental health, firstly, I'm sorry to hear that, but it's a very real thing. I've witnessed it myself. You have several options, but again, you really have to decide and weigh up what's worth your time, because I just want to let you know, you're worth more. And if you are being bullied, it's wrong. It should be a zero tolerance, but it's not. And unfortunately, is it ever going to stop? Probably not. And is the case that you're going through right now going to be the defining factor to bullying coming to a full stop? No, that's the God's honest truth. I'm just being honest. But there are things you can do. You do need to collect as much evidence as possible. And I mean everything. Time, dates, locations, witnesses, reoccurring incidences, screen caps, emails, phone calls. Anything and everything needs to go into a big freaking Harry Potter book. You need to collect as much evidence as possible, like you're going into the Crown Court and that you're bringing down Pablo Escobar. The other thing you need to do is you almost need to try and prove passive aggressive behaviour and gross misconduct behaviour, or the breaking of some workplace policy. And you want to try and get that as close to you being able to take legal action. A company needs to have something put on their desk where they are forced to act against the problem, the cancer within, the toxic individual, opposed to dealing with you and eliminating you and actually finding flaws in your work to eliminate you so you don't raise this problem. So things that you could do is you could hint, once you have enough evidence, that this is worthy of going to the papers. No company wants public exposure and newspapers sniffing about that there's a really bad bullying incident that's been allowed to go on. If you can have witnesses back you up, which is incredibly hard, and I'm sure you're going to agree, this is why I do some videos about you can never trust your co-workers, because witnesses are one of the best ways to eliminate a bully, because there is strength in numbers. But the problem is, not many people will want to stick up for you despite your relationship or what you thought your work relationship was with them. If you thought you had a tight relationship and that you could trust each other, I'm here to say you can't trust co-workers, because they are going to go into survival mode. And if you call them as a witness and they get an investigation email sent through to their email saying that you've been mentioned as you were someone who was present when a bullying incident has happened, they are going to go into survival mode to protect their job. And they're going to weigh up and they're going to go home and discuss with their partner, my name's been mentioned as a witness. I then have to go against the manager when this manager might not get fired and they might remain in the company. And if they realise I was a witness and I went against them, if this person ends up leaving, which is the likelihood, so if you're being bullied, the likelihood is you'll end up leaving anyway, because that's the most simple option to do and less stressful. They're going to be left in the company, in their job, and the manager is going to know that they were a witness. You can never trust your co-workers. They are looking after themselves. They have their priorities to feed their families and pay their bills. Please heed the warning, right? Your co-workers are not your bezies. In times of need, and like an incident with bullying, they will not stick up for you. It is very rare. I would, if I was your work colleague, I would, because I didn't care. I had financial empowerment. I looked after my money, which gave me confidence to speak up against what was wrong. So if I was your work colleague, I would do it. But people like me and those who will stick up and stand up for what's right and go against what's wrong, we are very rare, far and few between. So you need witnesses because there is strength in numbers. Now, if you don't have the witnesses, the evidence that you collect needs to be big enough, bulky enough and factual enough that the company has to take action. But I want to say to you, and it's food for thought, if you're going to go down this route of grievance and you're going to go through investigation, and it's going to become stressful for you and your family because you're going to take these worries home, because of course it's a financial worry whether you've got a job or not, I would actively start looking for another job. I would also question yourself, how much do you love this job and is it worth battling this? What is the likelihood of you winning this grievance, this battle, this investigation? How long has this bully been in the company? Can you see yourself being in this company happily in the next 5 years? And let me ask you this. If you battle this bully and you don't win, or you do win, but the company didn't back you up or made it hard for you, would you really want to remain in the company knowing that they didn't do what was right? Because from a company's perspective, behind the scenes, they have a budget to pay employees to stay silent. They have a fund which they can pay off employees to go silently. So you could go and pursue that, maybe get some legal advice on how you get a payout. But they ultimately want to avoid a lawsuit. They don't care about the issue. They don't care about the bully. They don't care about the problem. They want this to go away as quickly as possible and sweep it under the carpet. And that's what human resources are there for, aka human removals or human remains. So is it worth going for a payout perhaps? What do you need to do to go for a payout? Again, you need to push borderline legal action where the company has to act. But what I would say to you as we come to a close, because it's incredibly hard to deal with a bully, how bad do you really want this job? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth the stress with you and your partner when you go home? Is it worth being stressed out with your kids and not enjoying a weekend? You're stressed out Monday to Friday, and then when it comes to the weekend and you're meant to be out with your kids, going to the park, going to the beach, and all you can do is think about work, is it worth it? It's a job. There are plenty of other jobs out there. Or have you even thought about exploring business and entrepreneurship? You don't have these problems in entrepreneurship and business. What you do have is you have a whole new level of responsibility and accountability for delivering your own results. But you have a lot of purpose, you have a lot of drive, a lot of fulfillment. You don't have any of these problems, which is why I'm so glad I'm not in the 9 to 5. I don't deal with micromanaging, not that I ever dealt with bullies, but I never came into bullies, never had harassment, discrimination, performance reviews. I don't have any of that. I answer to no one. Wouldn't that be a good feeling? Not having to answer to anyone? Not having to go through investigations and battling your own right, even, going against what was wrong, but it never gets dealt with, trying to deal with a bully that's never going to get dealt with. Entrepreneurship, you don't have any of those problems, like none of them. But you do have a level of responsibility to build a business and bring in your own cash flow. So that's a question for you to answer. Can you deal with that responsibility? When people turn around and say business is risky, but yeah, I'm aware of all these problems like bullying, harassment and micromanaging and anxiety and depression and mental health issues in the workplace, it amazes me how people think business is more risky. It's far more riskier on your mental health and your well-being and your family's well-being in a job. It's super, super hard to tackle a bully. It's not impossible, but I would say you definitely have to be a person that's got thick skin, can compartmentalize and put things aside whilst you're battling that cancer, that poison, which is the bully. But it is possible. I won a grievance once, but again, I built up a big Harry Potter book. I was lucky to have 2 witnesses that did back me to the very end, which is so rare, because that's really the defining factor, is having witnesses, because there's strength in numbers. If you've got 2, 3 other people that back you up, what was said, what happened, where it happened, and they'll back that up, the manager doesn't have a leg to stand on. If you don't have people to back you up, it's going to be really, really tricky. Unless there's CCTV proving what happened and it had audio and good visuals, depending on what happened, of course, this problem is probably not going to go away. I know that's not great, but that's the truth of it. I wish you all the best. Look, these more raw videos that I'm doing, if you have any suggestions or anything you'd like me to talk about, whether it's entrepreneurship, business, or in the workplace, Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you resonated with any of this video in the comments, and I'd be really pleased and glad to hear what you thought of it, and if you did resonate, and if you're having any problems that perhaps I can share a couple of comments with you. And until next time, please do like, subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon.